Bitcoin could be at 40,000 at the end of the 2018. It really easily could. And I think Ethereum, which I think will just touched 500 or is getting close, could be triple where it is as well. And at this pace, it could hit 40,000 in 3 months, 2 months.
That was hedge fund titan Mike Novogratz's uber bullish Bitcoin call from late 2017, right here on Fast Money. Of course, we all know that call didn't quite work out, but he's not giving up on the space yet. Says the bottom might be in. Mike, always good to have you. Thank you.
How are you?
So have we seen the worst for crypto?
Yeah, so I'm not sure that call didn't work out to start. Like, we had a spectacular blow off top. It got to 20,000. Ethereum got to 1,300. The retail bubble crashed.
Directionally was right, but 40,000 was.
You're right. You're right.
Order of magnitude.
Off on magnitude, but we were right on direction. And we had a pretty dramatic sell-off. Ethereum sold off almost 90%, 85%. Bitcoin, 65% plus. Last week, I put out a tweet that I thought we had reached a bottom, and that was basically on reading the charts and seeing kind of what I thought was a capitulation in Ethereum. There had been a lot of growth in the industry, and as the industry grew, you had more people to pay. We went from 5 people to 75 people. Consensus went to 1,200 people. So their salaries and healthcare and computers, and it takes a lot of capital. And all of a sudden, as soon as that capital coming in slowed down, the ICO people started selling their coins. And most of that selling, I think, is finished. We've had a pretty substantial bounce in the last week or so, either lucky or good. And more importantly, we're seeing institutions slowly getting ready to be in the space. First in the venture space, you're seeing lots of activity in private markets. Matter of fact, it was a complete bear market in coins, a disastrous bear market in coins. But in privates, you would never have known. It was a bull market. It's been a bull market in talent. And it's also a bull market in institutions building the infrastructure needed for real money investors to start investing in coins. And so you've had Goldman Sachs announce that they're going to do custody. They haven't given us the date yet. I think they will in the next 6 weeks. You have Jeff Sprecher at ICE investing big into a company called Bakkt. We're partners in there, small partners in there, which will be an exchange and custody and a clearinghouse. And you've got lots of other people getting into the space. And so I think 3 to 6 months from now, there'll be the all-clear sign for people to start, big institutions and pensions to start investing.
So if we're going to start seeing a flood of money coming into the space thanks to these institutional solutions for problems like custody, then would you say that call for 40,000 could be around the corner this time around? I mean, because when you made the call before, that was the expectation, but we didn't have firms like Goldman Sachs with a custody solution. I mean, that seems like if there was a call for 40,000 to be made, it should be made around now if you think that institutional money is the ticket.
Listen, we had a global speculative mania that drove prices pretty crazy. And I think institutional investors, to start with, are going to be more sober, and you're going to see, listen, there are plenty of levels on the chart that you've got to get through. If you get through 6,800, you can maybe go to 8,800. If you get through 8,800, you can take out 10,000, and then that opens up the old highs. And so you're going to need to see not just the custody solutions put in place, you're going to have to see the state of making those allocations. I think it's going to happen. We're talking to lots of them. And at that point, the sky's the limit, I think. But we're not going to get there by the end of the year. We're going to be higher by the end of the year. I think in the first quarter, maybe the second quarter, when that money starts moving in, because it takes one guy and then the second guy and then they all roll in. One of the most influential endowments has made an investment. They haven't announced it yet, so I'm not going to do it for them. They've made an investment in a Bitcoin fund. That's, I think, going to be kind of important information. And that institutional FOMO, just like we had a retail FOMO, is going to happen. And so I do think Bitcoin will outperform for a while. And I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but everyone we speak to in the institutional world is going to start with Bitcoin. And so I think most of the big projects you'll see from institutions will start with Bitcoin. It's a safe store of value. People know the brand. And it's a little easier to value because you think about Bitcoin as store of value. Gold's got an $8 trillion market cap and Bitcoin is 125 billion or something. If you think of all the rest of the blockchains, Ethereum, EOS, Dfinity, Hashgraph, Neo, there's about 100.
Sure.
they're all vying to be Web 3.0, this global decentralized supercomputer that processes and authenticates data. Like, it's harder to figure out what the market cap of that is. Is it the cloud times 4? I don't know.
So let me ask you about Bitcoin, and I understand that you're not a Bitcoin maximalist, but because so many institutions, that's probably the on-ramp to the crypto universe, investing in Bitcoin. What is a theory that is going to drive Bitcoin to potentially that 8,800 level to clear to 10,000 to get to new highs? I mean, the store of value seems to really be a challenged argument when you have seen Bitcoin go from 20 to 6, and I understand that we've seen these types of craters before and it's come back, but if you're new to the space and you're not a devotee, then you're like, I don't get this store of value argument if you can see this swing.
It's adoption, right? You know, each year younger people get a year older, and younger people are far more comfortable living in a digital world. And you think of like gold, you put it in a safe, it's got negative carry, it's not so easy to deal with. And so digital gold is gonna be an easier thing to swallow for people. And so I think it's just time and adoption. Listen, it's going to be used as a payment system, which surprises me. Starbucks and Microsoft have both announced as part of this back deal that you're going to be able to buy and sell Bitcoin, and that will go directly to the exchange so they won't take the coin risk. You know, Bakkt will take the exchange risk. But so you're going to start seeing it in retail places, which I think, you know, once people start using it, they start hoarding some, and so that'll help both with its brand recognition and also people's acceptance of it. And so I think it's just time. You know, you take out that crazy frenzy from 4 to 20 and back, and you look at the broader chart, and it's still trending up. If you had bought it a year ago, you still made money.
Right. What do you make of the big move in XRP that we've seen recently?
You know, I wish someone could explain it to me.
So you don't get it either?
Listen, they're building a great business. You know, full disclosure, we're close to a 1% owner of Ripple, the company, not the coin, but the company. Mm-hmm. The company's building a great business. They've got a good story. When something jumps 3x, I don't understand. You know, it's a short squeeze to a degree. I'm sure people were short. I'm sure there were new buyers.
Let me push back on that just a second. I mean, it's funny. You sound like you're skeptical because of the parabolic move. When we saw that parabolic move in Bitcoin, were you also, when it was getting to be double and almost triple, were you saying I'm out?
At my core,
were you still thinking
I've
40K?
Spent 25 years as a speculator.
Yeah.
And so when I think it's time to sell, I sell. And while I can be long-term structurally bullish, I did a lot of selling at the end of last year. Matter of fact, we had a hedge fund we were going to launch. We decided not to launch a hedge fund because I thought prices were way too dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, at the end of last year, I sold a lot, and you know, I didn't buy all at I didn't wait till the very bottom to buy back. But I think, you know, this is a multi-year structural bull trend, right? Web 3.0 is going to happen. It's not going to happen next year. It might be 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, but we will have a Web 3.0. We will have decentralized systems. Mm-hmm. And so keeping a core position, and it's why we decided to build a business.
Right. Speaking of selling a parabolic move, what did you make of the move in cannabis stocks? Are you personally short, or is the firm short any of these stocks?
So Galaxy Digital, my crypto company, doesn't participate in anything other than crypto. I have a family office on the side, and because I'm a speculator, I couldn't help myself in the last couple days getting involved. You know, the Tilray move, I don't think I've ever seen a short squeeze and a frenzy like that, with the exception maybe of the Porsche VW fiasco 10 years ago. The amount of volume and turnover on a low float. And so I was able to get a borrow, short it for a day trade, make some money, and that was just...
On Tilray.
That was just
Is that trade over at $130?
It's probably not over. Listen, the weed business has a great underlying story, and a lot like crypto. I think in 5 or 6 years we're going to have a monster weed business. It's.
How did you get the borrow? More importantly, I've heard it's impossible to get the borrow.
It's difficult.
Beg, borrow, and steal.
You know.
Literally. But are you out? Are you not short?
I'm not.
Are you long any?
I'm not. And I don't think. Listen, if that was my business, I would be short. It's not. Okay. I'm spending 90% of my time focused on crypto. I couldn't help myself because I saw that.
One last question before you go. Will you grace us with a forecast this time?
You know, my lawyers told me I'm not allowed to give actual forecasts.
They're not here.
And so I do think Bitcoin is going to be significantly higher by the end of the year. And I do think those levels I talked about are important. You know,
So 8,800 is a key one.
Go through one, go through 6,800, 8,800.
Do you think we'll hit a key level by the end of the year?
Yes, I certainly do. I certainly
One
I'd
or
be
two?
I'd be disappointed if we don't hit 1 or 2 key levels by the end of the year.
All right, so 88 or 10. Okay, Mike, thank you so much for coming by.
Guys, thanks a ton.